Welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller. And you've seen this guy in so many things, and he always puts on a fantastic performance. Giovanni Ribisi is with us here on the National Defense. Giovanni, how are you?
I'm all right, Randy. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. This new movie of yours, wow. I just watched the trailer for this Strange Darling.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you got to see the movie.
Yeah.
Go out. Yeah. I'm sure you're busy, but you'll find a chance.
Well, I mean, hey, the trailer makes you want to just run out and see this thing. Is this a true story?
No, I mean that's in lieu of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and sort of an homage to that. The director put a crawl, as they say, at the beginning of the film, but it's part of the experience of the movie when you go in, and a lot of people are saying that you go in blind and not knowing anything about the movie, and that really is the best way to see it. But yeah, that he just added that at the beginning.
Man, I tell you what, I have enjoyed your work in so many things. Sneaky Pete, for one, and our audience is also active duty military veterans and their families. So your work in Saving Private Ryan. Thank you so much for.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was just what an incredible experience for all of the people that were involved in that. Because we went through, it was only for 2 weeks. So granted, it's not, obviously the real thing, but we went through the boot camp training with Colonel Dale Dye, who was a drill instructor in the military, and just, apparently a legendary figure. It's just unforgettable, just life-changing, really.
Well, and we've had Tom Hanks on this show about 4 times, and his dedication to getting it right in terms of the technical and the logistical parts of the military, it's pretty impressive, right?
I miss that. Yeah, I mean that kind of dedication. I haven't really heard of. It might have been just because Colonel Dale Dye had a company and he was working on a lot. I mean, at a certain point, it really wasn't a military movie unless he was on it, because he the breadth of knowledge and research that he would bring to a film just legitimized it. And I think that it's changed a little bit, but I really miss those days where people were just like bleeding, to make something more authentic or original, for film and telling stories like this.
Yeah, it is kind of a lost art. We're talking to Giovanni Ribisi here on the National Defense, and the new movie is Strange Darling. And I appreciate you saying that, Giovanni, because you're also the director of photography on this movie. And I've read a few things about your cinematography talent and your desire to get better at it and to do that, which is such an it's such a cool thing, number one, but it's also something that is you wouldn't expect from an actor to get into something like that. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it just truly on a cellular level, it's just a fascination that I've always had with photography and the moving image and the cinematographer. I grew up on film sets. I was a child actor. And really, my schoolmates were the camera department on movies or TV shows that I was working on at the time. And when I was old enough to, I started getting interested in other things. It was just something that I really couldn't help. I just, it's just something. So I've been shooting professionally music videos and commercials for the last 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I just got J.T. Molnar, the writer-director of Strange Darling, sent me the script, and the conversation evolved into me shooting it, and he was gracious enough, or maybe stupid enough to take a chance. But no, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that's
so cool.
How that happened.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you've been in so many great things. I mean, so many, not just movies but TV shows. And then were you Phoebe's brother on Friends. Do I?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you go out in public, I mean, what do people? You're also just such a great character actor too. That I'm sure people just see you and they're like, "There's that guy. There's that guy." What do people know you for the most when you're just out in public?
It really depends on what part of the country I'm in or part of the world even. But yeah, I would say New York is usually a Boiler Room, just because that's such a New York movie. And I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and said, I used to do that for the, as if they were proud. Well, anyway, that, but usually, yeah, oftentimes it is Friends. It's, that was just such a cultural phenomenon.
Right.
And the cast members on there's just such an incredible chemistry. Really sort of like a cultural thing that goes from sort of generation to generation too. So I think I only did 10 episodes out of the entire show. Yeah. But it really does what they did was, anyways. Sure. I'll stop.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. We're talking to Giovanni Ribisi here on the National Defense and the new movie Strange Darling that also stars Ed Begley Jr. That's another guy that just pops up everywhere.
What
right?
a legend. Yeah, what a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a gracious, incredible, committed actor. I cannot say enough about him. And, he comes from a lineage of, his father, but all the way back to Monty Hellman's the Cockfighter and all of those incredible movies.
And all of the comedy stuff. I mean, Mighty
sure.
Wind,
yeah, of course.
all of that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, he's part of that generation that just is the great generation in filmmaking. And just an incredible support for the film. So, yeah.
You talk about a lineage, though. I mean, your family is so interesting. I mean, nobody in your family ever had a real job, right? Your dad was a musician.
Well, no, he did. My dad, I will say, I must say, my dad, he was a musician in the 60s. He was in a touring band, and they had a couple records out on Capitol. The band was called People, but when he had a family, he got a real job and buckled in and raised us, and we're all. I mean, he's just the greatest, and he's still working to this day. He's in the printing industry.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And with the name Ribisi, do people just automatically expect you to be a good cook, a good chef?
Yeah. I think there was that expectation, and it was the opposite was true until when COVID came around, and there was really for a lot of the day there was just nothing to do other than so that my wife and we started getting into cooking, which is great. It's the best.
Oh, that's so cool. How did this? The Strange Darling, the script and the story. How did that come about?
So J.T. Molnar, the writer-director, sent me a script. I don't know for how long he had been working on it, but we had been exchanging material. And he was just a good friend. And this was something that it really hit me like a lightning bolt. I mean, it was just something that within 15 minutes I was calling him, begging to be a part of it or figure out how I could be involved. And then he was aware of my photography and my cinematography, and the conversation evolved into that. Just an incredible experience. I think it was extreme and one of the hardest things we both have done respectively in our lives. At one point we were, just sitting in total failure. And I think that, he was sort of, butting heads a little bit with some of the powers that be, the producers and all that, but to their credit, after the first test screening, they saw the audience's reaction and they gave him, full control and director's cut. And it was just a great thing to fight for something that was so personal, and then have people have it be received like this. We're just really grateful and proud.
And I know that, you know, you've been through that down that road so many times. You can appreciate that. When you make a horror thriller like Strange Darling, and Stephen King calls it a clever masterpiece,
right?
you know, people need to see that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I mean, at that point, especially for JT, you know, I was like, oh, well, we made it. I mean, what else is there beyond?
Right.
You know,
exactly.
We're just such big fans of his. But yeah, definitely. I mean, also, I just can't say enough about the actors in the movie. They're just it's just
Barbara Hershey's in it.
Yeah, but you know, Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner, they're just it was just one of those rare experiences where there's just such incredible chemistry, and they just showed up every day, you know, being so committed. And so, yeah, if it's just for that, their performances, the entire cast, it's worth seeing the movie.
That is so cool. Strange Darling, that is now playing in theaters, and it's just I can't wait to see it, man. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the work too over the years.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I hope to talk to you at a later date.
All right. Thank you. Giovanni Ribisi right here on the National Defense. We'll be right back.